Hello, this is Ava from Soul GPS. Welcome. In today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about narcissist tactic, or actually two tactics called minimization and rationalization. While most narcissists actively engage in minimizing what they do or say to the point of non-existence, they want it completely gone. Rationalization is something they don't do solely on their own. We often help them. When a narcissist does something that is hurtful or damaging, one of the first reactions they have when facing opposition or encountering a boundary is that, hey, it's not a big deal. What's the fuss about? Why are you having a reaction, right? Why are you being defensive? It makes the target of their ill behavior feel like they're exaggerating or overreacting. And that's the point, you see. It's a tactic that aids them in transferring their emotions onto you. In fact, if you know a narcissist and have interacted with one, you probably have because you're here, you probably have heard this before. They say things like, you're too sensitive, get over it, you're turning anthills into mountains, you're thin-skinned, or my favorite, it was just a joke, right? And it's amazing how quickly their face can change. They can go from looking mean and vicious in one moment to all out laughing in the blink of an eye. Yes, narcissists are very skilled actors. In my episode on lying, the previous one I mentioned that the reason they're so good at lying, which includes acting and pretending, of course, is because they actually believe in the lies they tell. They want you to believe that they are pure, innocent, and moral, and you are not. In fact, by pointing out at how you react to their provocations, they seek to show you that you are the one who is immoral and mischievous and bad. Just look at you, they will say, once they have successfully transferred their emotions onto you. And so this begs the question, why do they do it? Why do narcissists minimize? Well, they do this to make you and others think that what they do is not harmful at all. When they do this, they want to make you feel bad and guilty for being so unjustly strict and even cruel towards their poor self. This is something that covert narcissists especially use a lot. They will say that you're not seeing things clearly and that your judgments are erroneous. They will attack anything, including your own intuition, anything that can make what they do look like it is much less than it really is. So they will attack things like the context of the situation, the intensity of your reaction, process of explaining themselves and how hard you're making it for them, listing reasons for doing this and doing that, and this goes on and on. Their arguments can be so exhausting that you may feel like giving up, apologizing even, and admitting that you did something that you haven't done just because of how drained you feel from this and you want this to be over. Narcissists will go as far as to discredit and undermine you to escape taking responsibility for their actions. It's so strong in them, this need to prove their morality. They will tell lies about you and smear you publicly, and also to your family and friends, of course, to minimize the impact of their destructive behavior. And again, point the finger at you. They will often say things like, I would never, or you always, or oh, it was just this or that, absolute terms, right? And all that so that you feel like you are, again, making too much of a big deal of something that just isn't. They'll say that you're inflating something that is harmless to begin with. Ultimately, minimization, you see, it serves the purpose of narcissists making themselves feel better about what they did. That's really important. They just want to feel better. They don't want to bear the responsibility. They don't want to walk around the heavy feeling. This tells us something. This tells us that they actually are capable of feeling bad, that they know that they did the wrong thing. They should dispel a few things for you. They have a sense of it. They have a sense of what they did. This tells us that there is some rudimentary conscience present, that they are intelligent, that they are aware, and able to reflect on what they did, but they don't want to admit their wrongdoing, even to themselves. I would say especially to themselves, and they do that so that your and other people's impression on them is that of innocence, morality, and superiority. All this completely sidesteps the issue and feeds their grandiosity, and it just propels this narcissistic machine, inflates it. So now that when it comes to rationalization, so rationalization, when they do this, they employ shallow arguments that for someone who's skilled in critical thinking, this is important, someone who is skilled in critical thinking, for them it will border on fantasy. They'll be able to poke holes through it very quickly. Narcissists talk, and they can overwhelm us with the stories. They talk a lot, they talk often, and they are quite good at it. It's their main weapon, to spin fictional stories and pull you into their illusory world in which they're king and you are the serf or the slave. And they've been doing this all their life. It is their personality. We have to finally accept that this is it. Personality can't be changed. You can ask any psychologist. Personality can't be changed. It is what it is. You can change a behavior, but never a personality. Just like if you're empathic, if you have the personality of someone who enjoys giving, you're not going to change that. It is so deeply rooted. You're not going to change. You can change your behavior. You can set boundaries to protect yourself, but you're not going to change it. You can embrace who you are and love it and celebrate it. So it's a bit of a tragedy, right? It's a bit of a tragedy, but it is the truth. So if you are or ever wore one of their flying monkeys, it happens often, and most of us don't realize when we are. You would have heard their rationalization so much and so often to the point where you took them as truth. Or maybe you were afraid of their reaction. That happens a lot too. So you went along with their story. Either way, they're experts at distorting reality with lies and making you believe in them. Which is why truth is the best medicine after relationship with a narcissist. Many of us who have had narcissists for romantic partners, family members, or friends, or still do have, we've had the misfortune of inhabiting this twilight zone space for a period of time, this twilight zone between lies and truth, where we don't know what's what, right? And it's hard not to, as the narcissist can be very convincing again and good at conjuring up trance-like states. That's another thing that happens, right? I talk about this a lot in my other videos on trance induction, so you can check those out. It's very dangerous, though, because inadvertently, by repeating their lies, by joining the choir, so to speak, you can become an agent of falsehood and become the narcissist and the enabler. That's something I talk about, that if you want to change the world and make it a better place, let's stop, all of us, let's stop tolerating bad behavior. That's our responsibility. Because otherwise, they're just going to keep moving forward. It's the easiest thing for them to do. And it is both conscious and unconscious, right? So many people ask me this question, do they know what they do? Of course they know what they do. They do, but a lot of their behaviors are also automatic because they don't think about every single thing that they do. It just comes out automatically because it's who they are. So the answer is both. So this rationalization tactic is great for them because it keeps you off their back, because now you understand and agree with them. And your empathy is misplaced in other words, and quiets their own reservations they may have for doing what they want to do. If they know that they shouldn't be doing that and they face a lot of opposition, they may actually stop doing it. They may change some of their behaviors, which is good for everyone. Still, again, they're not going to change who they are. But free of external and internal resistance, since we're going along with it now, they are free to keep acting inappropriately and harming others as they go after what they want. This is currently happening on a mass scale with the dangerous spread of conspiracy theories. This is a topic that's very close to me right now. It's something that I've been researching a lot, and I probably will be talking about more on this channel. But for now, I just want to say that being around narcissists and even listening to them, like on the television, right? It can make you fearful of what's benign and trusting what's malevolent, right? It can literally turn your world upside down. It's super confusing. And it can take months, if not years, to reach a place where your mind finally begins to separate facts from opinions and manipulations, and clarity sets in. It took me a couple of years, honestly, because the person that I was with that led me to start this channel was deeply, deeply into conspiracy theories, and you begin to look at the world through such distorted lens. It's scary. It's like you don't want to even be in it. But it's not true. It's a version of reality they peddle because they love creating a sense of fear around you so they can be your savior. Remember that. It's happening in relationships, and it's happening in politics. It's happening on lots of scales. So be careful. Be very careful with them. So again here, studying and most importantly, applying critical thinking is key. Critical thinking comes from philosophy. Philosophia means love of wisdom. It's a beautiful, beautiful area to explore. Consider that you may not have the full story. That's another important point. And ask questions. None of us know everything. We need to ask questions. They will help you uncover more information. So it's a journey, and it can be a really, really wonderful journey. It doesn't have to be painful. So steer clear of biases, including your own. This can take a while to come to grips with, but it's important to remember and be highly discriminating and discerning. I don't mean the negative side of discrimination where you have prejudices about people and things because they don't agree with you, but be discriminating even of your own prejudices, if that makes sense. I know it's a little bit complex. That's why I urge you to go to specific sources that can help you explore different way of thinking, thinking that's clear. So consider those things, and ask questions like, said who? Somebody's telling you, it's like this. Well, said who? How do we know it's the entire truth? What if the opposite is true? That's a good one after a relationship with a narcissist. And at the least, this will expand your mind and help end the torment of cognitive dissonance. And final advice on this is to read a lot and often. Reading well-researched book by an author who is committed to truth, such as, for instance, an investigative journalist, can do wonders to your mind and help you set things straight. Of course, therapy is incredibly powerful if you happen to meet a good therapist who understands this. And also books written from the heart, they can soothe our aching soul. Truth is healing, as is love. Sometimes you may need to consult outside sources for it, and that's fine. It can also help you feel connected to other people, society, open you up to new ideas, and maybe even imbue you with a sense of purpose. Maybe you'll come across something that's going to inspire you. So it's worth expanding your mind and reading things, and reading specifically rather than just watching videos. Videos are great, but when you read, excuse me, your mind becomes like a laser beam. Your attention focuses on the words and you trace them across the page. And it's literally like your mind is inside another person's mind. And if that person's mind is highly developed and discerning, then you will get that it's almost contagious. So back to rationalizations to wrap up. It's basically dishing out a list of excuses for the narcissist's harmful behavior. It can be very effective, especially when the explanation that the narcissist makes appeals to the conscience of the listener. And isn't that how it usually is? It becomes emotional then. Many of us make decisions based on what we feel rather than what we think. So when the justification makes just enough sense, we tend to go along with it. Let's not do that. Let's stop doing that. Let's not enable and propagate the lies without questioning. Let's always seek the truth. And you don't have to do it out loud because it's going to, of course, infuriate the narcissist. But deep inside your soul, you know that, I don't quite agree with that, and own it. So this is it for today. And I hope you enjoyed this episode, found it helpful. I look forward to your comments as always and wanted to wish you peace and happiness. And let's hope that truth always wins. And as a final note, if you are currently suffering from a breakup due to trauma bonding, you can check out my Unchained program. In it, I included everything that helped me break free and live my best life. So there are lots of tools, close to or slightly over 15 hours of footage. It's loaded with resources. And you can find it on my website, which is www.mysoulgps.org. Thank you so much. All the best to you, and thank you.